Welcome back, and we still have with us His Royal Highness Bubaraye Dakolo, the Benenaway of the Petiama Kingdom from Bayelsa State. And we're trying to unravel or resolve, if you like, the riddle of crude oil theft in the Niger-Delta. And that's the title of his book, The Riddle of the Oil Thief, Exposing Nigeria's Crude Reality. Thank you for holding on. We hope that the communication is better now. So go ahead with the high points of this book.
Yeah, so I was just given the background. You asked about the research, and so it took a lifetime, I would say, from when I was born at Otuabagi, where the first oil well was drilled, to schooling at Ibulia Dikibo at Okrika, living at the refinery quarters, working on naked pipelines, surviving the war itself, and then going to school where the pioneer operational base, headquarters of Shell, was in Bayelsa State. And then, of course, the fact that crude oil theft and pollution has been a recurring decimal, and having received countless envoys and friends and researchers, I thought I should put something in black and white. And so that is the riddle of the oil thief. That is how the book came about. The fact is that Nigeria got so concerned about oil theft close to 30 years ago. And in 1998, the Joint Task Force, security outfit that has the military, the police, the NSCDC, the DSS, and everyone was put there together to ensure that pipeline vandalism, oil theft, and the likes were stamped out. But this is 27 years after. We are still discussing oil and gas theft, and sometimes oil production has come to an all-time low during this period. So what I do know is that the Nigerian state, that is the federal government of Nigeria, does not know who an oil thief is, because it is surprising that for this long, not one oil thief has been arrested, prosecuted, and jailed. So if you go to Kirikiri prison, for instance, or Kirikiri Correctional Center, as it is now called, there's not one oil thief in their list of persons ever jailed. If you go to Kogi prison, there's not one oil thief in that list. If you go to Kuje prison as well, there's no oil thief that is listed amongst those who have ever been jailed. So no oil thief has been jailed. And from the records we have today, there are about 200,000 barrels of crude oil stolen every day. And this amount of crude oil, you can't put it in your mouth. You can't put it in your pockets. So ocean-going vessels are used in stealing them. But the Nigerian state is chasing victims of oil thievery. Those who are not able to go to school, those who are not able to buy shorts for themselves, buy trousers for themselves, those who can't afford 3 square meals. And so those are the ones that are chasing about in the creeks, when really an oil thief does not want to even ever come to the Niger-Delta because he has no business there. The place is too contaminated for him. He can be in New York, he can be in London, he can be in Abuja, he can be in Lagos, and be doing the oil thievery using some expendable persons, the ones I call victims of oil and gas theft. So unfortunately, Nigeria loses from losing crude oil, 200,000 barrels or so a day, and then loses from trying to look for oil thieves without catching one for all these decades. So that is the dilemma of Nigeria. So it is a riddle because the thieves are the ones calling non-thieves thieves. Thieves are calling suspect thieves. Thieves are calling village people, those in the Niger-Delta thieves. There's hardly any Niger-Delta person, someone who lives there in the creeks, that can be properly accused for stealing the crude oil and gas, because where will he keep it? You have to have ships. There's nobody in the Jaw land today that has a ship to himself. None in my kingdom, none in any kingdom in Bayelsa State. And so that is the riddle. The riddle is that even though it is clear, everyone knows that most of the estates that don't have anybody, any name attached to them in Abuja belong to these people. And these monies are all put into banks. And so bank MDs and everyone knows them. The security agencies knows them, but nobody looks at them. They look rather at someone else. So it's like going into a warehouse where there are 1,000 bags of rice or
Your
gari,
Highness.
and then there are 100. Hello?
Just land on your thought, Your Highness.
Yes, then there are 100 rats there. So if you put a video, if you put a camera there and you film the rats, they will look menacing, punching a hole in almost every bag. But how much rice or how much gari will they ever eat in that place? Compared to if some executive of that same firm goes there with a trailer and collects 500 bags in one night. So if you look at the difference, you see that the real thief comes, well-dressed, and if you see a video of the thief, you will think that he's the owner of the warehouse. You will never, ever assume that he's a thief, but that is the thief. So the confusion, the federal government not properly defining who an oil thief is, has set us in this trajectory. As we speak now, about $3 trillion worth of oil has been sold over the years or has been extracted over the years. And then most of it outrightly stolen, never brought to Nigeria, never came to Nigeria. Of course, you must have also heard of the Abacha loot, which even though the man has died for about 27 or so years, the money keeps coming every year. I believe we are going to receive some this year. So that is about 1 trillion. Then the 2 trillion that has come into Nigeria over the years for use in managing governance and building all the cities except the cities in my own place are also part of it. So those ones are the ones eaten by cows, stolen by fishes, eaten by rats and swallowed by snakes and so on and so forth. So there is no proper accountability. The mismanagement of oil and gas resources is the story. Nobody wants to frontally say, okay, this is an oil thief, or this is the definition of an oil thief. In the course of this discussion, perhaps I will define who an oil thief is for everyone.
Your Highness, I wish we had a lot more time to expand the conversation, but within the 2 or 3 minutes we have, so who exactly in your books is this oil thief?
Who is the oil thief? Well, I can tell you who an oil thief is, first and foremost, and then who an oil thief is not. The oil thief definitely are not the youths you see in the Niger-Delta that are painted as oil thieves. The oil thief usually will have properties in Banana Island and in choice places in Abuja. The oil thief will have properties in London and other parts of Europe and America. The oil thief will have a yacht. The oil thief will have a glossy skin. The oil thief wouldn't want to come to the Niger-Delta, to the creeks of the Niger-Delta, even for a day. If he has to come, he will come with a military escort, he will come with police escort, mobile escort, doctors, nurses, and all. In case he's bitten by a mosquito, they will have to cure him because he loves his life so dearly. He wouldn't want to take the risk of coming to be in the swamps of the Niger-Delta.
So 2 things I gather from what you've said, and I must commend your approach to this conversation. It's very, very clinical in that sense. It brings in poetry, humor, and all of that, but still points to the real issues. And that way, maybe we're able to make headway with this kind of approach. So from what you've said so far, it sounds as though you're saying the Nigerian state is complicit, a very active accomplice in all of this. It also sounds like you're saying the oil thieves themselves seem very powerful, perhaps even more powerful than the Nigerian state. Am I right on that, on those 2?
Yeah, I think you should be right, because if you read the books, not my book, the books, Ken Saro-Wiwa was killed, and the greatest suspect was first Shell, and then the Nigerian government. So if these 2 bodies are fingered for having to kill someone who was protesting for minority oil and gas rights, then you can imagine. But I'm right now in Benin for a home health program, Health of Mother Earth Foundation program, that has to do with my writings about the environment and about oil and gas pollution. So I'm in Benin, not in Bayelsa State.
All right, Your Royal Highness, we must commend your activism, and we hope that your book becomes one of the instruments, for which, okay, we seem to have a bit more time. So, I'm spoiled for choice in asking this. So, what are the recommendations from your book that will help to refine Nigeria's crude reality and probably end crude oil theft, or lead us to identifying and prosecuting these, in your own words, executive thieves?
Well, the recommendations are in the book. If you read it, you will find it. Over the years, I have come to realize that if something appears so easy and cheap, people don't place value on it. So you must first of all understand the dynamics of oil and gas thievery, how people really steal the oil. And then, of course, if you now see the recommendations, it will make sense. For instance, we have law enforcement. Law enforcement has been there in Nigeria since independence. And so how many oil thieves have they ever apprehended and taken through the processes and jailed? So that's a question. So I am not going to say this is the solution, but the agencies of government that are supposed to ensure that nobody steals anything are there. The police is there. They're supposed to arrest and prosecute. And then, of course, the funniest one is when you get the best security agencies in Nigeria, you put them together to come and try to prevent oil and gas thievery. And then for 27 years, they've not caught one thief. Rather, sometimes you see some people that don't even look like they've ever eaten a day, being paraded to deceive everybody. So, I mean, such kind of ridiculous things. So and then, of course, like the DPR, which was the regulator before, and then NUPRC, are the worst set of regulators ever in the universe. They have never, ever regulated anything in the sector. They have been in the pockets of the oil and gas industry in terms of the IOC. So they have not been effective in any way. So it's, if we want to go forward, then it's have a more pointed discussion, not this one on television. And then the things that are supposed to be done will be made clear. For instance, why is no Nigeria talking about availability of petroleum products everywhere in Nigeria, in the creeks of the Niger-Delta? Okay, you are going to disturb people who are managing to make a living out of whatever, because there's no alternative. Petroleum products, if they're available in everywhere in the creeks of the Niger-Delta, just like rice, if you have Uncle Bent, you're not going to eat stones. So instead of focusing on providing petroleum products to Nigerians, they're focusing on those who are going to do fake. Will anybody sell fake product when the original product is affordable, available, and affordable? The answer is no. So I think the emphasis should be on the fact that the federal government of Nigeria must make available petroleum products, and then most of these other things will fizzle.
All right. Again, we commend your activism and, in fact, your calm and intellectual approach to, understanding a complex issue. His Royal Highness Bubarai Dakolo, Ibenanawe of Ekpetiama Kingdom, thank you for your time on this segment. Your Royal Majesty has joined us virtually from Benin City in Edo State. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.